Yet another interesting day in the crypto market where Bitcoin was highly volatile or is highly volatile. And on the left side, you get to see XRP. So we are watching XRP on a 4 hour chart, we're watching Bitcoin on an hourly. What's happening here? What do you think is the price doing? Is it going lower from here, or is it trying to come back up? So you need to look at different price structures to understand what it's showing you, because before we did the recent drop, we had this thought process. Okay, last couple of times when you did wick to the downside, you came down to retest that low or just a little bit lower than that, sometimes not that low, but you still got a drop. So that was the thought process shared with the SI family. So everyone who in the SI family was looking for this by the end of the weekly close. That's what we just got. And right now it looks like this, which is a favorable position to be in if you are in the crypto market. Why? Because 2 days back, we had this thought process. We need to actually complete this one way or the other. And right now, we've actually done that. But this is the most important stuff, I would argue. In last 77 days, Bitcoin was kind of in a range where it was like, okay, maybe it's a rectangular pattern. Maybe we're going to actually continue to the upside. But now you got a weekly close coming back down. So that's 77 days later where we are actually having a bearish engulfing candle on the Bitcoin dominance. This is huge for the altcoin market. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, yes, it's not just 77 days later we are doing a new trend, but it's also after 574 days we're getting this kind of a candle where a weekly candle is erasing few weeks of price history which was controlled by bulls, right? So from last year or 2022, you can pick the first bottom here, we trended to the upside. So Bitcoin was taking all the money away from the altcoins. Right now things are changing. And that's where we were talking about Ether. Like, okay, we may actually come back down to this range. But there's a difference. The RSI reached the price did not. So that's like, okay, someone is interested in buying that asset even before it was reaching that range. So it's trying to make a double bottom without coming back to retest the 2400 mark. That is again bullish. Because if you do look at this, say XRP historically till this point, at least in last 2-3 years, we have seen when Bitcoin drops, this is like going down, down, down. But today we did not actually see that, right? We got something much, much interesting happening, right? We were going to the upside when Bitcoin was going to the downside. So that's actually a great thing to watch. So if you are like, okay, what does that really mean? So if you actually go on an XRP to Bitcoin chart, this is what you can actually see. Now, not on an hourly, but you will literally have to go on a higher time frame to see, are we getting a reversal here? Because in the macro, when you do plot a trend line, you want to actually see, okay, this is what we are looking at on the micro level. So can we break this to the upside? That's the first thing. If we do, fine, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. We want to see that happening in the market, right? So the Bitcoin dominance should continue to the downside, but there are some signals that there is going to be a bounce, maybe a retest of this range. Maybe you're going to come to 52.69. That's still going to be a range to see if we are getting rejected. Because if we are, there is a lot happening on the other end. Fundamentals, there is no doubt how this asset is going on. But in between, we got something like this, and it was like, is that an ETF? Is that someone going to dump on us? We were like, okay, what the hell is really happening? That was way earlier today. But then we saw, no, that was nothing like that. It wasn't failed attack. So we got that on the range. Now, why is it important to understand all of this and then invest properly into the market? Because on the other side, this is true. Think about this. From that time, if you are earning that daily, Still, your government is just debasing your currency, and it's nowhere near. You need to be in an asset which is appreciating, not depreciating. And that's one of the reasons why when we go through a lot of these assets, asking the right questions, it makes a lot of sense. Say, if you look at XRP, you kind of have the thought process here. Bitcoin is highly volatile, but XRP is not dropping lower. Rather, it is showing you I would like to break to the upside. In last couple of years, how many times do we have, how many times have we actually seen XRP doing something same at a time when the MACD want to cross to the upside? That is a little bit of different story there. So if you are looking at this and you're asking like, okay, that leg is completed, what next? There is some more to this. There's a 3-day chart of Bitcoin, and we'll have to agree on this point. Like, we are doing this scenario, right? And the RSI is dropping. That's a negative divergence on a 3-day chart. But as I highlighted in the last video, if you haven't seen a peak on the monthly here, I don't think we are dropping there. We are somewhere in between. What is it going to be, right? So we are still looking for a negative divergence on a weekly chart. That is going to be the optimum range where you can say, okay, the market is topping off. Let me jump completely out. Now, this is my thought process, right? Maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but the volume earlier today was like 10 billion. Right now, the Bitcoin volume is grinding higher to 15. So you just got like 50% of volume in as soon as the market started. So you got the weekly close, great, perfect. You got the daily close, and all of them actually indicates you something. What is that? The weekly close doesn't actually look super bullish. If you're just looking at one candle here, that doesn't look good. So you actually had a trend, you were going to the upside, and at the top we just had this. So that doesn't look super bullish. But to go completely negative, this candle, the mother candle which actually went up, should get invalidated in my thought process. If not, a retest and a rejection here should come, right? So you at least get to see what's happening on the weekly RSI. So you kind of look at this and you're saying, okay, this is the point being made here. If we do get a confirmation, okay, all should run up. Money flow should move from one side to another. You're looking at the ether and you're saying, okay, someone is interested in buying this asset and they are keeping that up. They're trying to buy every dip, which is actually a bullish thing to look at because you just broke through a macro trend. You haven't reached your measured move. So you have a long way to go. So if you are like, property guy, you're just looking at this and saying, okay, if that's 140, at least a 120, say 100% move from here should come. So that actually takes you all the way up close to the all-time highs, like $4,300, $4,500. As soon as the price reaches there, that's where the thought process of FOMO comes in. But is that the right time? No, usually it's not. The right time to be aggressive in the market is when the market is down. So if you are an XRP guy and you are looking at the XRP chart, you're like, okay, that was somewhere here. Not a lot of people actually went in like that, but you do see the importance of this range. We discussed about this in the last video and the video before, as much as possible so that you guys don't miss this key point. You are at two major supports in XRP, right? We discussed about this detail in last video, so I'm not actually going to take that much time here, but you understand the importance here. That means if you do get a breakout here, now this is something we want to see, the price accelerating to the upside. Now we are getting a favorable environment in terms of Bitcoin slowing down, the money moving out of Bitcoin, money entering into the altcoin market. Bitcoin kind of have a little bit of room to come to the downside. The dominance close a weekly coming back down. So you have a little bit of bounce and a rejection. That's something great to look at. Because again, there's a weekly chart on the Bitcoin dominance. And, you take all these drawings out just to be, fair and to look at things a little bit more clearer or to bring more clarity here. It kind of shows you like there was kind of a divergence which came in at the initial part here, which showed the prices slowing down. Then the RSI is starting to trend lower. So if you do get a continuation, what are we expecting? This range, that's it. It's going to be a great thing to see that this gets below this range. If we manage to get below 47, that is going to be here, which is going to be really, really great. Now, why? Right? People could easily ask, why though? You're saying it's going to be massively bullish if we do break that. Why? Because if we get rejected from here, I think there is a probability you go up here, literally you do all this fluctuation, you go up here, you get rejected, you try it one more time, and then that rejection happens to be something like this. Now, is it going to be the same this time, or we're going to drop like this? I'm not sure. But most likely we'll follow the history. We come back down, go back to retest this, and then boom. Now, this corner, you need to keep your eyes focused on. This bottom has been intact from a long period of time. So when you are analyzing the price, you should not miss what's happening on a daily. You should not miss what's happening on a weekly, on a monthly. So you go back to a monthly chart. So this is Bitcoin on a monthly. We are still midway through this month. We want to see where we close this month. Now, when you do take a monthly chart, you want to know how this asset performed over a long period of time. And when we got a similar candle, what happened in the price action? So yeah, it's still 2 weeks from here where we'll see how this candle closes. But as of now, you just had the weekly candle showing you it's a little bit bearish, right? On a short to medium term scenario, one candle is showing you that. So if you do get a continuation where you're breaking through this mother candle, okay, now you're coming all the way back to what we discussed last time. The trend line is going to be something important to keep in mind where you're going to come back down to. Most likely that's also going to be the horizontal range of support. So you come back down close to 35, 36 and then bounce off. That is going to be one of the key range to think about. Now, if you do think we were in a bull market for last 1 year, then again, I'll reiterate this. You take this index, go back like all the way. And you're like, okay, if I do go back that long, each and every top monthly chart showed you something. If each and every time, 1, 2, 3, 4, why should this time it be different? Or if you say this time it's different, I have a hard time agreeing on that because that's not how the history works. That's not how human beings work, right? So let's actually put things into that clarity. Until you get a confirmation, it is going to be really, really hard to say this is the market cycle top and this is going much lower. So you have both sides of the argument. Some saying it's going to be $1 million, say 250,000. Some saying it's going to be 3,000. Right? You have both sides talking about different perspective and what they think and how they arrive at that point. But you need to make your judgment. You need to make your judgment. And one of the easiest part in that is a monthly chart. Each and every top this came in. You kind of had a divergence. At least in 1, 2, 3 times you had the divergence. The third one, the divergence was super big. So the monthly even gave you an idea of get out, right? In each of these. So if we do consider all of those factors, going completely defensive here may not be the right thing for you. Now, it depends on what type of an investor you are, obviously. But unless we break through this range, you can still look for something in the market to see which one of these assets are showing you a buy the dip. Because when you enter the market, you're like, okay, there is hundreds of different assets. Which one of these are actually showing you a breakout, are actually showing you a possible move to the upside? Now, if you want help on those kind of charts to find the right assets, to get these right calls at the right time, you can look at the SI family, where 950 plus members are taking benefit of what I post on a regular basis. So you guys are well guided and well educated in this market. So if you want to reach out look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below in YouTube or in the bio on Twitter. Now, if you haven't smashed the like button yet, I would request you, please consider doing that. Now, before we actually close this, I would like to reiterate this. You understand this. That's why at least you are in crypto or in the investment world. So in the meantime, while you're here, you'll get these kind of things, right? What's happening? Is it about to dump? Is it about to drop? But in reality, what happened is that the price did not actually do to the downside. Rather, it slowly pushed to the upside. So did a lot of people sell on the initial news without any confirmation? Who knows? But all that we want to say is don't be one of them. We don't want to make that mistake. On a photo chart, it's showing you the RSI wants to go up, the MACD wants to go up. Short term, we want to see some move to the upside. And on a daily, when you go on, as I initially highlighted, you're still here watching this. If there is a breakout on a daily, that can push the price up to the resistance. If there is a retest and a bounce on the RSI on a daily, you will see the price bursting through. This is something we are watching. As soon as something happens there, as soon as there is a breakout, you'll get those in the alerts or in the Patreon alerts. Whether you are in the Telegram or in the Patreon, you'll get those whenever I see that. So guys, again, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do consider doing that. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.